All right, good afternoon again, Mr. Sinclair.
Afternoon.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us this afternoon. So let's jump right in. So the first question for you is, why did you choose to pursue a career in tech?
All right, so good question. Initially, I wanted to be an architect. I like the idea of creating and problem solving. And I was told that every project in architecture provided new problems to solve. And that was very attractive for me. During my journey into proposal architecture in high school, I was introduced to technology, or IT as we call it. And I found that they offered similar traits. But what was more exciting about it is that technology kind of made me feel as though you were building something to make the future easier. And that in itself is what brought me to technology. I want to almost say that technology found me, then I found technology. But I saw tech as an opportunity to bring people together, whether it's through platforms, applications, or digital experiences. And that's why I decided to choose tech.
Oh, whoa, interesting. So question for you then, is it that you found that tech interesting in high school, or was it in college?
So I didn't know much about it in high school. It was fairly new to me, fairly new to Jamaica. But there was an opportunity through education for us to be exposed to technology. So I decided to try that. It was a risk. I decided to try that route because, as you know, you want to be a professional and it's usually doctor, lawyer, etc. So I decided to try something else in technology. And luckily for me, I think it has worked out really well.
Okay, awesome. I think so too. All right. So, I mean, you would have served in various tech roles. What in particular, what direction are you taking with your career?
So I see myself as a life learner. I'm always learning, always reading. My career is still heavily invested in tech. I started out as a coder, and I was a hardcore coder, by the way. Then I moved into IT project management, then digital transformation. And now what I'm seeing is with tech and human behavior, I see a synergy. So my career is now trending towards behavioral change using technology and growth hacking.
Oh, wow, very interesting. All right. So along the way, you would have made some mistakes, especially early on in your career. How did you, what mistakes were those, and how did you manage to progress in spite of those mistakes?
So I think I've made many mistakes over the years. I think I can sum up my mistakes into two big things, two big buckets. The first is that I used to dream a lot and have no action. So I would have a lot of ideas bouncing off my friends at the time, and then we take no action in them and we watch the opportunities pass by. The next big thing is that I feared failing. I saw failure as something that was finite, and I also saw it as something that was embarrassing. So because of the way I looked at failure, I was always hesitant to venture into the unknown or take major risks. So how did I overcome that? So I have established a very tight belief circle or belief system with two friends from high school, Kimiko Williams and Sean Reed. Call them my brothers. And though we are very different, we share similar dreams. And the difference has allowed us to action a lot of our ideas. And through that, we have started quite a few companies. Some have worked, some have failed, and that's fine. We have also been able to offer projects and services to companies inside and outside of Jamaica. But the most amazing thing is that we push each other a lot and we are continuously learning. As it relates to the fear of failing, I just had to come to grips that I am a risk taker by nature, I am. And what I need to do is learn from my mistakes and come back stronger. I once heard somebody say that fail, F-A-I-L, means first attempt in learning. And I take that with me in everywhere that I go. But what did I learn though is that, most times success will overcompensate failure. So after multiple tries and failures, when you get to that point of success, it will overcompensate it. WD-40, right, which is the lubricant. It took them 40 tries to get to where they are now, right? That's where WD-40 comes from. They're a successful company as it stands. And then the last thing is this, right? This is something that somebody told me a long time ago, that dream without action serves no purpose. And that is something that I live by every single day. If you're going to dream and you think it's worth it, then take the action. Don't delay.
Wow.
So that's how I've been able to look at mistakes. I still will make mistakes. I'm not perfect, but I have accepted that failure is a part of the process, and we will always come back stronger than before.
Wow. I love that. All right. So, in our conversation, you would have told me that you recently resigned as CEO of Credit Info. Why do you think it was the right decision for you?
All right. So, firstly, my time at Credit Info was amazing, right? It was a big challenge for me, and I love challenges. And I was able to support a young team, which helped me to provide new services to the financial sector and aid in financial inclusion. But then I was presented with an opportunity to start a fintech and join a small team commissioned with creating different types of user experiences in Jamaica, which would essentially change the landscape and behaviors using technology. And this really fit perfectly into my next career step. I think building something from scratch, one, is very attractive, but building something to benefit the future of Jamaica is more attractive. And this was the opportunity that was presented to me at the time.
Okay, all right. You are a self-proclaimed digital attacker, right? And yes, I saw it on your LinkedIn and I found it very interesting. It caught my attention. And so as a digital attacker, what impact are you looking to make in your new capacity as Chief Product Officer at your current startup?
All right, so I would say digital attacker, digital native. And I think the digital age offers new opportunities for established companies and even greater opportunities for startups. But with these new opportunities, creates enormous challenges. So my new role as Chief Product Officer is to bring to the market frictionless experiences, universality and interoperability. And most importantly, whatever we are going to be building, it should be so easy that it's almost invisible. And I think being a digital attacker, which is usually associated in the fintech space or the financial space, allows us as a small company to disrupt the traditional companies with new services. And the disruption doesn't mean that we're going to compete. It also means that we can easily collaborate. And I think this puts me in that type of position as a digital native.
All right. So, the pandemic just came, and we had to shift and just, recalibrate and just reassess almost every aspect of our life, how we work, live, and do business. So is there anything that the pandemic has taught you about digital transformation?
I think it's an unprecedented time. So yes. If I were to say that the pandemic didn't teach me anything, I would be lying. So outside of the fact that digital transformation has now become a priority, I think the pandemic has totally accelerated the need for transformation digitally. I think transformation must be digital, but it doesn't mean that it must be only technology, right? And there's a differentiation between digital and tech. But it has taught me three things. The first thing is about people, right? There has been a seismic shift in culture and mindset, where companies would allow persons to, with scoff at persons working from home or working remotely. It has now become the norm and it is totally accepted. And it has now been baked into company policy. What we're seeing though is that the way we work, for people, it has to be more agile. We now have to become more customer obsessed because the pandemic has also opened up opportunities for other services to be created, which means that your customer's attention is now shared across a wider group. Digital has also opened up, lower barriers to entry. So other entities that probably were not even looking at Jamaica or the Caribbean are now coming in because opportunity has been created because we are now more digital. So I think for the people part, it's really about a shift in culture and mindset. And if you're consumer facing, which most of us are, you have to be totally customer obsessed. And it starts with leadership. What I have also learned, digital transformation is a big buzzword since 2018, totally accelerated to the top of the list in 2020. But transformation is not singular. It's not a singular event. It's a holistic change in the way the company operates, right? With big plays on customer experience, automation, efficiencies, and seamless journeys. And the last thing, which is I think is the most important in terms of managing expectations about digital transformation, is that transformation is not a silver bullet, or it is a project. It's a journey which requires visionary leaders and committed staff. And I think those three things, I will take it into the future with me. Not that the pandemic kind of brought it into scope. What the pandemic has allowed me to do is appreciate these three things and put them together in a package that I think will prepare us for the future.
Wow. Wow. All right. Very robust, very thorough answer, but all very true. And I'm not a techie, but I do know based on the conversations that I'm seeing out there, and just to hear it from a digital attacker and a digital just kind of puts everything into perspective, which is always good. All right, so my last question for you is, are there any personal initiatives or passion projects we can look forward to seeing from you anytime soon? In other words, I'm asking, what's next for John Matthew?
What's next?
Not the digital attacker, not the digital native, just John Matthew, the person. Any other passions?
I have a lot of passions, which is probably good and bad.
Yes.
All right, so for camera, right now, I wish I could share all of my passions, yes. But what I think you should expect to see is some really interesting future collaborations on my side. I think I'm going to try my best to take the digital native culture that I have tried to enrich in my circle, my family, and kind of bring it into a space that, the connection was never really there. Might be into construction, I don't know. But what's next in scope for me though is a deeper understanding of human behaviors. I think now more than ever, we have to appreciate that we don't know what everybody wants. Everybody they don't know what they want either. But we have to find a way to understand the way humans behave based on things that are in the market or things to be introduced. And I've been doing a lot of reading recently on artificial intelligence and machine learning, which, we start to use it now. There's Siri and there's Alexa and, all these other bots that are out there. But I am going to start to explore conversational artificial intelligence. I think it in itself will be the future for what I like to call frictionless experiences. And I think if I'm able to couple them together at some point in time, though right now it may seem very futuristic, but there are people working in labs that have done a lot of research on this to bring it into the production space. I want to benefit from that early work. To see where conversational AI can take me at some point in time.
Wow. Well, I look forward to seeing all of that. and by extension, the JTDA.